The lesson.
Oh, yeah.
So then that was 2016, and then you've been touring, and then I noticed that your next album, which was your fifth album?
Sixth.
Your sixth album,
Space between,
right?
yeah.
So the sixth album dropped in 2019, so there's like a 2-3 year gap there. Obviously, you've been doing tours and whatever else that you've been
Sorry,
doing.
bro, I'll pull you up there. So that was, Cinematic dropped 2013, 2 Degrees was 2016, and The Space Between was 2021.
Ah, okay. All right, so the gap between album number 5 and number 6 has been like 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time. So the first single off Space Between came out in May 2019, and that was called Then What, which is another. I fucking sound like a broken record, but that's another multi-platinum one. But then the song that came after that was Lean On Me, which came out in October 2019. And so everything was gearing up for an early 2020 release. And then obviously the fucking world went to shit, and all the plans got scrapped.
Just to backtrack a little bit, off the back of the 2 Degrees album. So you've dropped that 2016, you're touring it, and then in, I think it was like 2018-ish, you've actually moved from Warner and you've gone over to Sony. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And so what was the decision-making process behind that? Why did you decide to, move labels again?
Yeah, well, I had a 2-album deal with Warner, and it had obviously gone really well. Both those albums are gold-selling albums. I think 2 Degrees is probably pushing platinum at this point. So I was at the end of my contract, and the head who I'd mentioned before, Tony Harlow, had been poached, or not poached, but he'd been promoted to New York office. So he wasn't going to be involved, and he was my real champion. And then the person I think who should have got the job was a woman called Marty Court, and they didn't give her the job, so she resigned. So my 2 people that were really, in my corner, and a big reason why the label, they were, as far as the label's concerned, they were the 2 people who were the reason why my shit went well. So they both left. So I didn't really have any loyalty to anyone that was there. That sounds a bit harsh. I wasn't like desperate to. It was less of a fucking relationship, and it was, there were still people there that I worked with regularly who I loved, but the 2 people that were instrumental in me being there had gone. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what's best for my career, and everyone, put offers forward, and Sony, again, what they said. What they proposed was the best thing. So it was like, all right, let's do it.
And so that was 2018, 2019?
That was 2018, yeah.
Okay, so that was 2018. So now you've gone over to Sony, and then the following year, 2019, you've ended up as a feature on the Hood single Exit Sign.
Yes.
Now that was a big record.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that's then the second time that you had a song with the Hoods?
Yeah, that's the second song. So that was, the difference being that was on their album, and yeah, that's like, that's I think that's a 4 or 5 times platinum one as well. There's like, but anything the Hoods touch turns to multi-platinum, that. So yeah, it was kind of written in the stars that was going to be a hit, and it was, and I love the boys, so I was very honored to be able to finally say that I was on a Hilltop Hoods album.
Because I was going to say, it's big to get the Hoods on your album. That's huge.
But it's a bigger thing completely.
Yeah, when you get the invite to be on their album, in my opinion, that's a bigger thing. That's a like
100%.
because you're really gonna get like all the Hilltop Hood's eyes, and now they're gonna, you're gonna come across. You're gonna come across their eyes, and
I mean, there's that element to it, bro. But more like when you're, they're inviting me onto their work. It's not so much about who's gonna hear it as much as it's like these are people that I like at that point. It had been, I've looked up to and been a real like a proper deep fan of for 15 years. So like to have them on my thing was a huge sort of cosign, and it meant a lot. But when they're like inviting you into their world, and it's like, this is the art that we have spent the last year or 2 or 3 working on, and we have a place on it that we want you to be a part of. That's like, yeah, it's next level,
And how did that come about? Did you just randomly get a phone call from like Suffer, for example, or did the label put it on your desk? And like, do you recall when you went in and you first heard the song, what your thoughts were?
Yeah, no, I do, man. Like he just hit me up. No, there's never with those boys. It's never the label stuff and industry shit comes afterwards. We'll speak directly. So it was just him like, yo, we got a song. You want to jump on it? And I'm like, fucking, I don't care what it sounds like. You didn't even need to send it to me, man. It could be fucking cats meowing and like just static sounds as a drum beat. Like I'm on it. But then he sent it to me, and thankfully it sounded a lot better than that. But yeah, as soon as the offer came, as soon as that call came in, I was like, yeah, I'm down. Of course. Didn't even think twice.
And did they tell you why because obviously they can have whoever they want on whatever records they want. Did they did they tell you why they specifically thought you would fit on the record, or why they invited you in particular to be a part of it?
No, I mean, they didn't need to. Like, you hear the track and it sounds like something that I would fit on, And it was dope because I know Sarah, so Eka Vandal sings it, but the girl who wrote the hook is, her name's Sarah Aarons, and she's one of the best songwriters in the world. She writes for everybody now. She's lived in LA for the last 5 years. She's like one of the biggest, but she actually went to school, she went to a high school in McKinnon. She went to a high school where my parents live now, basically. So that, like, I'd known of her for years, and we'd sort of circled around each other for a few years through mutual friends. So to actually be on a track with her as well, it was like dope. I got some of my best buddies and this girl who's an absolutely incredible songwriter. It was like, yo, this track's a hit with or without me, but I'm glad I can be a part of it.
The lesson. 927. Oh yeah.